I would like to call to order the school committee meeting for Monday, June 5th. Roll call, please, Kate.
Kathleen Amaral,
Here.
Chris Oliver,
Here.
Elizabeth Coughlin,
Here.
Shannon Jenkins,
She's on Zoom.
You with us, Shannon?
Shannon? Shannon's on Zoom.
That echo is going to...
Feed the mice.
Shannon, are you there? John, you please.
I can see Mr. Parati, but I can't see anyone else.
You won't, Shannon, but go ahead. I want to see you. You get that feed? No, we have to go one shot.
There he is.
Shannon Jenkins,
Here.
John Nunes.
Here.
Great. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. I don't know if I'm going to get through this.
Yeah, we able to cut back on the echo a little bit?
All set? Oh, that's wonderful. Great. So thank you, everyone. We're going to take, as it's on the agenda, we're going to begin. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Kiley to introduce our first presentation.
Sure. Thank you, Mrs. Amaral. So we're pleased tonight to have Mrs. Enid Silva, President of the DHS Alumni Association, with us, who is going to report on the scholarship essay winners.
Good evening, everybody. Don't hear myself echoing. Is that a good thing?
That's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
I figured a mountain had to be involved with that much echo. Thank you very much for having me. This evening I wear the hat of Dartmouth High School Alumni Association. Tomorrow will be another hat, just as important. I've come here this evening because I've been with the Alumni Association since I graduated from Dartmouth High School 65 years ago. And in all those 65 years, I think that Dartmouth High School has always been an inspiration for all of us that come back and work through our Alumni Association to make sure that we can make a better future for some of our graduates. This year we were able to give out $21,000 to the class of 2023 and wish we had more and wish that we could follow them all through their college years because some of the essays were so heart-moving. This year, a member of our group graduated in 1993, Tara Thomas. She is a music teacher in middle school. She came to one of her first meetings and said, "Do we ever ask the kids if they could tell us about their favorite teacher or a teacher that inspired them?" And we all went, "No, we've never thought to do that." Of all the years I've been doing this, I guess we thought every teacher was respected, every teacher was loved. There's no need. The times have changed. I think this happened this year because of the times. We didn't plan for it, we didn't expect it, but here it came. So we voted and we changed our application so that it would include an essay about a teacher that you admired, that inspired you, that liked you, that you will never forget. Applications started coming in, and some of the applications were from the old school that didn't have the question, so not all of them were able to give us their favorite teacher. But we got at least 12, that did, and they celebrated their teachers in essays that were very, very personal and deep for some of them. And we're all listening to national news talking about the children in America, how they have reacted to COVID. And as adults, we know how we have acted with COVID, and we have probably pride ourselves in thinking that we did pretty well. We are survivors. The children of America have suffered more because these were their growing years. These are the years they were trying to understand themselves, and then COVID said, you can't go there. You can't go to friends, you can't go anywhere. Stay home, stay out of our way, and be invisible. Teenagers are not invisible, especially American teenagers. They have opinions and they have feelings. And when they're deprived of spitting that out and saying it in a crowded room, hostility probably comes through. So I guess this was the year to do it. And because they were so open to tell us their background, I have a stack about that thick of essays. So I tried to make sure that only took about a paragraph of everyone's essay so I could read them to you. Reading them to you out of context probably is a disservice to each and every one of them. But here's some of them. There are many DPS teachers who influenced me. I use DPS because I was typing and I have a broken arm. Who influenced me, but I would have to say that my 5th grade teacher, Miss Liz Vosey, was one of the ones who influenced me the most. She gave me self-confidence to apply myself and earn the best grades possible. She has always inspired me because of how dedicated she was to her students in her classroom. She wanted her students to have all the tools necessary, so she held fundraisers to get equipment so that she could make her room an active classroom. At the same time, she made school fun, and I remember how much I looked forward to going to school to be with her. She had a real impact on me, wanting to not only be a good student, but to remember to be kind to others along the way, as she demonstrated firsthand every day. The teacher who has been most influential in my years at DHS is Mrs. Melissa Lamba. She was my Spanish teacher for sophomore and junior years. She was very impactful to me throughout high school because she's caring, always gave me extra understanding during difficult moments that high schools present. And most importantly, she always treated me with respect. Mrs. Lamba is a teacher who is patient and easily relates to her students. She is a teacher I know I can trust and has continued her support of me this year, even though I am no longer one of her students. I know I will always remember her kindness and her guidance. The DPS teacher who has influenced me the most has been my 7th grade science teacher, Rebecca Keenan. Mrs. Keenan was unlike any teacher from the start. Not only was she my teacher, but she became a leader and a parent figure in my life. If I was struggling at all, or if I just needed a good laugh, I could always go to Mrs. Keenan. I helped her with anything she needed, and she did the same for me. I was inspired by her kindness and spirit. Whenever I make a decision regarding school or students, I always ask myself, what would Mrs. Keenan say? I thank her for her dedication to her students and her craft. I think teachers would happy to know they have a craft. And I'm happy to say that even after 5 years, we still keep in touch. Excuse me. Microphone's not making me dry. It's when you get old. Everything's dry. This one's a little special. I'm a Dartmouth student in an external student placement. I was able to meet all of Dartmouth's requirements, passing MCAS and various courses to earn my Dartmouth diploma this June. My 6th grade teacher, Miss Lisa K. Katz-Turgeon, inspired me and drove me to want to educate students with respect, patience, and compassion that she showed me each and every day. Being a student with global learning disabilities, I required my work to be scaffolded and taught in a way that I could connect. Mrs. Turgeon did this remarkably well in a manner that allowed me not only to learn, but not to feel embarrassed because I needed her help. She was that special education teacher that offered help to all students, opened her room for anyone who needed another explanation or a review of the material taught. She truly cared, and each one of us saw and felt this. It's been 6 years since I sat in her class, but I still vividly remember the way she gave me instructions, instilled confidence, and advocated for our needs. She will forever hold a special place in my heart as a fond memory of being a Dartmouth student. I have been admitted to several colleges to study special education, and I now aspire to be that teacher whose students want to walk through the door and is there for them, to teach them every day and guide them to greatness. When I moved in with my dad, he immediately enrolled me in Dartmouth High School. The first person I met was my social worker, Mrs. Catherine Thomas, who noticed I was panicking and gave me a stress ball as she told me to find each color of the rainbow all around the room. Looking back, I now realize she was just doing her job. But everyone in Dartmouth High School has been so helpful, from being there for me to hearing my struggles and helping me achieve educationally. I am skipping some of it and I hate it. This child came from Fall River, didn't do well there, but got to Dartmouth Middle School and started to have a better understanding of things. It took some time for me to catch up with the other kids in my class, but now I have a 3.6 GPA and I'm currently going to graduate from Bristol Community College in June. This shows that because of the Dartmouth community and because of how much the teachers, friends, and family care about me, I was able to thrive, going to Bryant University in the fall. When coming to Dartmouth High School, I was nervous. I didn't know what I wanted to do. As I walked through the doors to my classroom, I saw Mr. Robert Perotti, TV media teacher. He helped to show me the ropes in all aspects of media, including field trips, showcasing what Dartmouth had to offer, a welcoming classroom, friends, TV media clubs, and opportunities to learn and grow. Mr. Perotti has made me the thriving young individual that I am today. And from that, 4 years ago, when that little girl came walking through his doors, he knew I was going to be something special. Still seem to all be awake. I think I'll continue. The DPS teacher that influenced me the most was Mr. Eric Bosworth. He was my computer science teacher at DHS. We still continue to be friends, even though he is no longer my teacher. I attend an after-school group that he organized. I am inspired by him because he makes me feel normal. He listens to me as a person. He believes in me as a student, and he pushes me to do the things out of my comfort zone. He asked me to present coding to rising 8th graders in Dartmouth Middle School and at Dartmouth High School open house to the families who attended. Mr. Bosworth is a true inspiration, especially to the students that feel less than and are always left out due to their popularity status at school. I've been a dance student for 14 years. I always found myself unable to imagine a world where I would be able to pursue my dance and academic goals until I met Dr. Peter Bangs in my senior year of AP Biology. Staying after school with Mr. Bangs and learning of his incredible academic history, and then hearing him tell me that it does not have to be one or the other, but it can be both dreams, really helped me realize that I can pursue dance now and an academic experience in the future. The DPS teacher who has been a great influence in my life is Mr. John Bro. Not only was he my sophomore year English teacher, he was also my academic support advisor and my coach for unified track and basketball. He always believed in me and what great things I could accomplish. He believed that I was capable of doing more and pushed me to be the best of my ability and make me accountable. During my IEP meetings, he always showed compassion for myself and my family, understanding my personal life and showing perspectives, and showed interest in my welfare. Even though he is an adult figure in my life, he knows how to be cool with us young kids. He has definitely been a positive mentor in my life. I am truly grateful for having Mr. Bro as part of my academic team, and I hope I can make him proud as I attend college and 4 years from now walk across the stage to accept my degree. The teacher who inspired me the most during my time at DHS has been Mr. Matthew Tweedy. I took his marine science class in my junior year and quickly realized that we both share the same love and passion for the ocean. Learning about coral reefs, the marine ecosystem, and how waves are formed created a good learning environment for me. I spent most of my time learning about things I had, I think I lost my place. I spent my time learning about things I was most passionate about. I felt a sense of engagement and motivation that I never felt in any other class before. Growing up, my life has revolved around the ocean. Mr. Tweedy helped me grow as a person while also expanding my knowledge of the sea. He made me want to come to class every day and saw my value and worth. He is someone who understands my hobbies and interests, someone who actually values my skills and passions. He made an effort to show he cared. He would always ask things like, "How's the boat running? Pretty fun surfing this weekend, huh?" The ocean keeps me balanced and will allow me to do my best work. Thank you, Mr. Tweedy, for always inspiring me to be myself and chase what I love. I have been fortunate to have several teachers who have impacted and shaped me into the person I am today. The teacher who I look back on as having the biggest impact on me did so at a young age, so young that I didn't notice until several years later. That was my first grade teacher, Miss Liz Nemi. As a firstborn grandchild, I spent a great deal of my time with my great-grandparents. My great-grandmother, who I called Gigi, was a retired Dartmouth elementary school teacher. Gail Frost, I think she deserves to be said, who cared for me prior to starting school. My parents worked. I was doted on by Gigi and Papa, library visits, museums, boat rides, and adventures. My Gigi was diagnosed with cancer and passed away while I was in first grade with Mrs. Nemi. My parents and grandparents were devastated over Gigi's passing, and I don't know that I completely understood. But I knew tears and crying, and I knew hugs were comforting, but once the out-of-town relatives left, we were talking about going back to school. Mrs. Silva has forgot the page that ends this, but this family is very near to me, too. Mrs. Nemi welcomed her with a gigantic hug as she walked into her first grade classroom and told her she was part of the Nemi family, which is what she calls her classroom. The child that was inspired by the welcoming attitude of her first grade class carried her all the way through high school, enough so that she's off into her college years with the love of her family, her Gigi, and everyone at Dartmouth High School Alumni Association. As we sat and not knowing who that child was, we always now talking about, as adults, many years out of school, who was the favorite teacher. And we all found a favorite teacher, and some of us had a problem because we had too many favorite teachers. And I'm so proud of Dartmouth, the town, the school committee, for keeping up the image that we love here in our community. These children were not all A+ students, nor were they all going to be left in the dust. But somehow, through the years at Dartmouth Public Schools, they were able to come to the top of the pile. I tell my grandchildren that all of our children are like an apple tree, and the best apples are always at the top. The apples that fall to the ground, anybody can pick them up. But the apples that are at the top of that tree, and you should be one of those, are the ones that are hardest to pick because they have high standards and morals, and they wish to be spoken to in a specific way. You were not able to be with us on Sunday when we did our ceremony. This is the 5th year because of COVID. And I think we're going to do it this way a lot more because now we're getting the feel of how much the children enjoy being talked to one-on-one. Some of you were with us on Sunday, and I hope you had a good time. We send out a newsletter once a year to over 2,000, 3,000 people that graduate from Dartmouth High School, which is just a small number. And we ask them if they would like to join us for $10 for life. And they join, and they send us money for scholarship. And because we have been trusted by the alumni of Dartmouth High School, there are graduates who have sent us large donations for scholarship. That's all we do. Although we did buy a brand new podium for this high school when it opened. I guess we called it the scholarship podium as a gift to the new high school. We do not give out loans as we started to do in the 50s, but then they figured out they gave out $100 as a loan. No one paid it back, and then they were angry. So we decided maybe the scholarships were just starting at, I guess, at public school level. And so we started giving out scholarships instead. Our first scholarships were $50, then $100, then $3, then $5. And now we give out scholarships of a larger number to a larger number of children because of our donations from alumni members. And I just wanted to touch base with you guys. I know it's not easy for school committee people to get into the classroom during the day, as it wasn't easy for a person on the select board to get to the police department and the highway department and all other departments to make sure they were doing their job. But I just wanted you to know your teachers are respected, and they respected their students. And they're doing a good job, and we need to support them. Everyone wants to make the government a business. If business ran like government, businesses would be out of business. A government is a service to the community. Having a black line at the bottom and not a red line is important, but it's not everything it's cracked up to be. We got to make sure that the humans are taken care of, and the humans, in your case, are children. I have one young lady who, at the ceremony, I said, if you want to come, please come. You can read your essay, I think. Several said yes, but this one young lady is a bright and shining star in our community, and she's going to read her full essay to you. Naya?
Hello, school committee. Here's my essay that I submitted for the Dartmouth High School Alumni Association Scholarship. As a student that immensely struggled emotionally during the first semester of her freshman year, I felt nothing but joy when the pandemic first hit. 2 weeks off school, is there anything better than that? I first remarked on Friday, March 13th of 2020. But it soon hit me that this pandemic would soon take its course and alter the high school experience for students nationwide in the class of 2023. As a student trying to figure herself out, the isolation of quarantine offered me nothing but time to think and then think endlessly some more. I would ask myself the questions every day. Who do I want to become? Who do I want to be known as? And what do I want to stand for? Day by day and month by month, the answers slowly pieced together. I finally realized that I wanted to utilize my education and to give back to the community that shaped my childhood, my aspirations, and who I am inside. Dartmouth High School has given me the support, mentorship, and guidance and opportunities to become a successful and ambitious student. I cannot think of a more valuable place I could have received my secondary education. I walked in here as a student with little to no direction and numerous emotional struggles. On June 4th of 2023, I will walk out, or now have walked out, with the lessons I've learned from my friends, peers, teachers, and administrators, as well as the diverse and well-rounded education I've spent the last 4 years obtaining, but most importantly, the ability and confidence to venture out into the real world and make a difference in my community and communities beyond. DHS gave me the ability to meet a teacher who has influenced my want to give back to the community. My life would not be the same had I not met Mrs. Chamberlain. I still remember the day I met Miss Chamberlain. I went up to her to strike a conversation because she was my brother's teacher one random morning. We immediately clicked, and even though I was a freshman and she wasn't one of my teachers, we would often find each other having a conversation. Once I got my schedule back for my junior year and I read the name, Mrs. Chamberlain, Spanish 4 Honors, a joy surged over me as I had been wanting to take a class of hers for 2 years now. I always admired her drive to give back to her community. She began a free program at Quinn Elementary School to teach students in grades 1 through 3 the basics of the Spanish language. When she was asking for volunteers for the program, I was the first to jump at the opportunity. I began to see the joy within children was simply unmatched by their adult counterparts, a joy so infectious that it spread to even teachers of the program each day. Mrs. Chamberlain's love and gratitude towards her community inspired me to want to give back too. I wanted to start giving back to my community through volunteering. After becoming the president of the Dartmouth High School robotics team, my teammates and I organized a free and accessible robotics summer class for students in grades 5 through 8. We traveled to local schools in the Dartmouth public school system and taught engineering lessons to students while also recruiting for our summer program. We wanted to ensure that every single student in the area, regardless of income level or gender, had access to resources so that they can become a successful and young engineer. In 2 summers, we've been able to reach and teach a total of 720 students in the Dartmouth public school system, a number we are immensely proud of. This project instigated my love for working with children. After getting to teach young students in this area, I began to understand how children are the most genuine people on this planet. They do not like to sugarcoat anything and truly could not be more honest. Seeing children be deprived of their natural joy is something I simply cannot witness. I now aspire to be a pediatric surgeon so I can rekindle the spark and fire once extinguished in ill children. Through the Dartmouth High School Alumni Association Scholarship, I can be one step closer to my dreams of resparking this fire. So that's my essay, but while I'm up here, I would like to take this time to say thank you so much to the Dartmouth High School Alumni Association and especially President Enid and the other officers. Especially you guys know how the cost of college is rising every year, and the fact that you guys are really able to give back and really ease this financial burden for so many of students in this area truly just means so much to me in this community. So thank you all so much for that.
That was wonderful. I don't know if my colleagues have any comments or Mr. Nunes?
I was here on the Sunday for the afternoon, and the teachers had, correct me if I'm wrong, the teachers had no idea why they were here, type of deal. So it was a total shock to them when, you know, the teachers were here and the students, and they were blown away. So it was really a nice time. We had the big numbers out for them and everything.
Oh,
It
great.
was perfect.
That's
You know,
fantastic.
Mr. Shea was here and he partook of it also, so it was nice.
Wonderful.
And so when we had the teachers, I said, well, if we don't tell the children, let's not tell the teachers.
Nice.
So they said, can you tell me who it is so I can get them a graduation card? I said, make it female. Make it male. We're not telling. So when they came and they saw the student, it was a revelation to them too,
Sure.
because sometimes they expected it to be that particular student because they've kept in touch, and other times they were surprised.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Anyone else have any? That's just fantastic.
Fantastic, and I hope all the alums stay in touch. Very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you
That's
for your
what
work.
Alumni's for. That's all we do. We keep our records straight. Hard to get information now because everything is so HIPAA involved, but we try to keep all the class records, so if they want to have a reunion and they come to us, they get more updated information
Sure.
than they had the last day they met in high school graduation.
Great.
Thank you so much, Enid, for bringing this to us. It was so nice to hear that.
Yeah, and I don't know if Dr. Jenkins has any
You can
comments.
see your name in the newsletter.
It was great. Thank you, Enid.
Dr. Jenkins thanks you as well. Thank you. Yeah, no, this is fantastic, and thank you for reading your essay. It was wonderful to hear, and appreciate it, and thank you for this. I know my daughter's invitation. She was a 2020 grad. We received in the mail recently, so I just happened to see it on the envelope. So. There you go. Excellent. Thank you. So now we're going to move on. I think we have, now we'll hear our public comment. So we've allotted 10 minutes for public comment. And so please feel free to come up to the podium and just state your name and be mindful of the
10 minutes. Got it. Total. Well, I think we're good. Okay. So my name is Maureen Sullivan Boyle. I'm a teacher in the district and a parent and a resident. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller kind of thing. I've been sitting in the crowd for almost every meeting for the last 18 months. I'm a building DEA representative from the middle school. I've sat through several rounds of negotiations in my time here. But I wanted to thank Mr. Kiley for working with the DEA and for educating the Select Board and the Finance Committee for a very important one-line item in the budget. I want to thank the School Committee for listening to our many members speak about what was being discussed at the negotiating table and responding with movement on those issues when you could. I know she's not here, but I want to thank Jasmine O'Lean, our negotiations chair, who facilitated our negotiations process for the first time, and she did a fabulous job. I want to thank Renee and Jody, our co-presidents, for their unwavering support when it comes to fighting for the members and trying to get what is rightfully deserved by all members of our units. It's a thankless job. It's many, many hours. It's many not nice conversations, but they don't hear it enough, so I just wanted to say thank you. So as you are aware, after working without a contract for this school year, it seems like we've ratified the next 3-year contract, but I want to be clear, it's not really a win for anyone. Movement was made, yes, on both sides, but due to inflation rates in the 6% range and a hefty increase in health insurance, this was not a win. It was not even a break even. We've attended many school committee meetings, select board meetings, finance committee meetings, met with our state rep, our state senator, and even representatives from Blue Cross Blue Shield over the past 18 months. We've brought our children with us or have left them at home and have missed special time. We've juggled our health as well as the health of loved ones to get to these meetings. I'm the one that sits in the audience with my sign that says, "Make Dartmouth competitive again." And I always wondered what you all thought that meant, that statement meant to you. I've been here for 20 years. I can tell you what I think it means. It means make it possible make it a place that people want to come to work again, want to come and can afford to come work at, want to put those applications in for those openings, the stacks that we used to get that we're now getting not even a handful of. I realize a portion of this is out of your hands. However, if we've learned anything in the past year and a half of negotiations is that together we can move this town forward. We must follow up with suggestions of the Select Board and the Finance Committee and work together to inform our community of the short and long-term needs of the school district. Because making Dartmouth competitive again cannot rest on the shoulders of the Dartmouth Educator Association. We need you, the school committee, to work as hard for us as we are working for this district. So as we look forward to the next round of budget discussions, which are coming so soon, I implore you to work together with the Select Board and the Finance Committee to help push the town to do whatever it takes to make Dartmouth competitive again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Great. Hearing none, okay. I'm going to move on to the next item on our agenda, which is the approval of minutes. I'll ask for a motion separately, one for the regular session and one for the executive of May 15th.
So move for the regular session minutes of May 15th, 2023.
I second.
Okay, any discussion? So we're going to need a roll call for a vote.
Kathleen Amaral,
Yes.
Chris Oliver,
Yes.
Elizabeth Coughlin,
Yes.
Shannon Jenkins,
Yes.
John Nunes.
Yes.
Thank you. And for the executive for the same evening?
So move, Madam Chair, with the stipulation that they be held until the matter for which they were intended is complete.
I'll second that.
Great, any discussion? Roll call?
Kathleen Amaral,
Yes.
Chris Oliver,
Yes.
Elizabeth Coughlin,
Yes.
Shannon Jenkins,
Yes.
John Nunes.
Yes.
Thank you for that. And next on the agenda, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Kiley for two consent items.
Thank you, Mrs. Amaral. So the first item on the consent agenda is the DHS marching band and color guard working on concessions at the stadium for our events there. So each year, those groups do an incredible job providing concessions for our events, and those funds go to support their programs. So we'd like to continue that, and we'll do so with a approval vote from you folks tonight.
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Second.
Great. Anyone have discussion on the matter? No, they do a great job. Roll call vote?
Kathleen Amaral,
Yes.
Chris Oliver,
Yes.
Elizabeth Coughlin,
Yes.
Shannon Jenkins,
Yes.
John Nunes.
Yes.
Great. And so next is related to another consent item.
Right, so the next item up is the, is the SMEC lease of classroom space. So the SMEC collaborative leases 2 classroom spaces, one at Dartmouth High School and one at the Quinn School. They also, this year, have added a small office space at Dartmouth High School. They've actually utilized that in the past, but have had not included that as something in their lease. So it was good news to see that they are prepared to compensate us for that space and have added it in. So we have the room. It's great to have them in the building, and we work very closely with them with these classrooms, but overall for programs that they provide. So we'd like to continue that and would do so with a vote tonight.
Great. Does anyone have anything to ask about either of the
Happy to answer anything as well.
okay. No? Dr. Jenkins, any questions?
None.
All right, with that, I will,
Motion to approve the memorandum of agreement between the Dartmouth School Committee and the Southeastern Massachusetts Educational Collaborative for fiscal year '24.
Second that?
okay, any discussion? No. Roll call? Kate?
Kathleen Amaral,
Yes.
Chris Oliver,
Yes.
Elizabeth Coughlin,
Yes.
Shannon Jenkins,
Yes.
John Nunes.
Yes.
Great. So moving on, next we have a nice presentation.
We do. Thank you, Mrs. Emerald. So we have, we'll invite Mr. Galashaw up to the podium for a presentation on technology in the district.
I'm going to take away my duties as floor director to take over here. I just wanted to give you a very brief but riveting summation about technology. As the end of the year here, we have a lot of things going on. Educational technology, or technology in schools, we have a very nice situation by being able to work in the summertime, because we can get a lot of things done. Usually during the year, getting things done, it's like changing a flat tire of a car moving 60 miles an hour. It doesn't always work, but the summer's a nice pause, allowing us to do things. So I wanted to give you an idea of where we've been and where we're going. So thank you, school committee, for having me. Thank you for the people here, joined here tonight, and the hundreds or thousands that are online right now watching. Mr. Barati said that the numbers just bumped up as I was approaching the podium, so that's nice. Thank you. So this is a current state, but I promise some people I'd be very brief, so I will be brief. All right, I have 5 items I'd like to talk about. First being hardware. Of course, we have Chromebooks, multitudes of Chromebooks, laptops, and servers that run things throughout the district. In the summertime, we'll be doing updates, moving them about to maximize their use, as well as integrating a few new ones for new employees that are coming on board. Also refurbishing the ones we have. We can clean them up and get them running again so we can use them for other purposes. And doing a massive inventory to find out where we are and what we've gone through and what we have in the district. The second item is software. We have instructional software, technical software, and administrative software. We do a full review of educational software. We've been doing that over the past few months of what we use in the classroom. Sorry, I heard someone was calling, but not me, my reaction. As well as with the instructional technology people, we look at all of the software and make sure that we produce usage data to make sure we're using it and maximizing our software use. And we've discontinued some products that aren't being used because it's not worth the money to keep them if they're not being used. One of the ones that I'll talk about later is we're consolidating our communication software to a product called Parent Square. And we're consolidating a few products into one. So we're saving thousands of dollars by doing this, and it's a much better product as well. It's multilingual and a lot of different aspects of it. And there'll be more about that coming to the people watching at home and to the staff. We look at continuous training of software, both for students and for teachers, and the development of curriculum based on that software that we use. We're also redoing the budget software, Budget Sense, to a new server, and we'll be doing that and transferring that information and all that, that budget information. The third thing is instructional products that we do, the instruction we do for technology. We talk to the students and the staff about computer care and usage, taking care of it, as well as a big hot topic, which is cybersecurity, both for students and teachers, and internet safety in regards to where to go and what the use of data privacy. We're big on data privacy and the giving of information for the people. We also will do a lot of training, so we master the software that we have to making the most out of the software that we've invested in. Number 4 is new technologies. We will be revamping the website. A lot of people have said, wow, that's really bad. The website has discontinued. The company was bought out by another company, so we're letting it ride to the summer and letting people get really tired of it and really look at it ugly. So the drama and the showmanship of unveiling the new website, which we started doing for September with our new superintendent orientation, will be super exciting. I think the staff will be overwhelmed by it. But Final Sight. So it's the evolution of Blackboard into Final Sight. And I mentioned about the new communication tool. Again, trying to gather everybody together on one system so there's good communication. And these types of systems allow teachers and students and parents all to talk by keeping it safe and private. So it's all within the system. So it's not like you have to give out your cell phone number or whatever. You can control that on apps. It'll add to the communication. So we'll be doing a lot of training for parents or parent nights, open house nights, as well as for staff along the way. Very easy to use, but we'll be there all the steps of the way. And just talk about some of the projects we're working on this summer. As I mentioned, the summer's a great time to get things done because you can take things apart. One of the things, we're doing a massive replacement for Wi-Fi right above us here, replacing about 330 units that they've extended their full life. So we've made full maximum life out of it. And we got that through, we also got that 50% funded with a grant from the government for a program called E-Rate. We also are continuing our phone replacements, getting all of our phones on IP so that we can ultimately go on to an IP phone system called SIP, which will allow for 911 direct dialing. It's something the state's requiring us to do. So what it is that if someone were to call 911 from a classroom, they can pinpoint, police and fire can pinpoint exactly where it came from. So it's a very important thing. The state is requiring it. They eased regulations during COVID because it actually was instituted right before COVID, but they didn't want to do that to us during COVID because we were already having a lot of things going on. They've rekindled that thing and we'll be adhering to that. We're adding intercom speakers in certain places as well as security cameras, doing walkthroughs to make sure that we've maximized the sound of announcements in all buildings, as well as coverage of security cameras in all buildings. We're also rekindling that relationship with the police department, who also have access to our intercoms and to our security cameras. In the event of something that might happen, they have the ability to view cameras, and it might be a very good advantage to the police to have the view of of schools, as well as the ability to speak on the intercom over the speaking system from the police department. We do a massive Chrome update. We take all the Chromebooks and we clean them and update them and make sure they're all ready to good to go, and relabel them, if you will, get them back in their carts or redistribute them in the fall to the kids. And as I mentioned before, the financial server, we have Budget Sense. We have a server that we've done Budget Sense on. We've pretty much given the life of the server. I think it's about 7 years old, and we're going to be transferring it to a new server, modern copy of an operating system. It's protected now with antivirus and such, but we will put it onto a new server, do that same protection, and do a disaster recovery from there. We wanted to, Mr. Oliver, very expensive, and I think we have this server available, and we can make that transfer and keep it a little low right now, but I will keep tabs on that. I'm talking to the company about, it was just a really big jump. And
Sure.
during this time, I just
It's Tyler,
didn't want to
right?
do
Tyler
that right now.
Technologies?
We can still handle it, but ultimately, it would be better in the cloud. But we do a full disaster recovery on the system we have internally. So that's what it does, is every 20 minutes, it takes all the data, puts it into the cloud, and keeps it. So, but ultimately, I would love to put the server, all services, to the cloud. I imagine the server cluster that we have that manages the district, when that ages out, it'll probably go to the cloud, file serving and stuff like that. Sure. Any questions? And that was brief? Was that not
That
brief?
was, yeah, very.
And riveting? Thank
Yeah.
you. That's
Yeah.
okay.
That was
I got a
great.
few.
Oh, good. Yes, Mr. Oliver, I expected to thorough.
Want to start
Thank-
over here? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Galashaw. Your Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi upgrade, the telephone upgrade, I know we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
there, 50% of your rate reimbursement on that. Is this typically what we would see from, you'd utilize some of the $200,000 that we would be receiving
Correct.
from the town on this?
Yeah.
So that's.
We're kind of scrimping and saving down to the penny to make it happen, because it's really important that it happens.
I agree, it needs to
Where I
happen.
don't have the flexibility, and I'm concerned that when I went back to the first item, we will be refurbishing a lot of equipment, because in the luxury where we used to be able to hand a computer to a teacher, a new computer, we might be really digging deep and trying to repair the one we have to give to the teacher. So it's,
Right.
in other words, you had to shift. It's something that's just ultimately important. It's only one piece of the project, Mr. Oliver. It's the first part with the Wi-Fi units, which expire June of '23 right now. So the end of life is the end of this month. So it's something we have to do for the fall. They'll work, they just won't get updates.
Correct.
And that's always concerning.
Correct. Now, as far as the Chromebooks go, and obviously ECF, emergency connectivity funding, has ended with the federal government.
Yeah.
How are we looking with supporting our one-to-one program across the
Yeah,
district?
same thing. We kind of scrapped the idea of buying new Chromebooks, usually for the fifth graders and the ninth graders. We're going to shuffle a few to accommodate the fifth graders, and just, we're scrounging.
Sure.
What we've done is we've taken Chromebooks that were older and out of update ability, would therefore not be able to be used by MCAS, and we're going to push them down to the first and second grades. Still very usable Chromebooks, but they will not be able to do MCAS, which is okay, because we don't need to do MCAS at grades 1 and 2. So their auto expiration date
Yep.
has already come, but they work. And again, scrimping and saving, so I've always appreciated the generosity of the town and the school committee. Yeah, but this is one of the years I'm gonna get tight. You know,
Sure.
it's just because, there it is.
One
Mr.
last
Kiley's
question.
done a lot
One
to it.
last question for
Yeah.
you. What does your department consist of? How many staff?
Yeah,
How many staff?
immediate staff,
Directly
we-
servicing technology.
Yeah, immediate staff, we have a technician, a server person, a network person, a data person, and a secretary, and myself. So that's what we have in the immediate group. We also have instructional technology people. One was not
Yeah.
replaced, but we have them in each of the schools. And we have a district-wide technology person that was doing the data privacy, which is, we have another year of that, through ESSER funds. So somehow, we're going to do a little bit of supporting the high school during that time with that extra person. But it's something I'll have to come back to you and address in the future.
Yeah,
Next fiscal.
I'm always been a proponent for staffing, and I know staffing's always tight, but technology runs everything. Without technology, it would be very difficult
Yeah.
have school each day.
Yeah, and the threats are there, as you know. It is a continuous job monitoring that network, trying to do the antivirus for the servers and special projects, and also the repairs for the Chromebooks. Chromebooks are great machines, but they're very economically built, so they do break, and especially in the hands of children that are rugged, and they're not expensive machines. So we do what we can to kind of Frankenstein them a little bit, borrow keyboards from one to build another one. So call me Dr. Frankenstein.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for those questions. Anyone else have anything?
We'll just say, I've talked about my lack of computer knowledge, and it is what it is type of deal. And I appreciate this, and I appreciate everything that you do for the district and such, and, keeping, everything put together with, chewing gum and baling wire sometimes,
Yeah.
as you kind of mentioned here type of deal. So anything that we can do, we'll do the best we can.
And I think that's a tribute to it. And I'm not just sucking up, but the staff I have is incredible. It's them. It really is. Just they're dedicated beyond words. Weekends, nights, they just love what they do. They're first-class nerds. Oh, I said that out loud. No, they really are. And they love what they do, and the district is very fortunate to have all of them.
We are
because
very
they're
fortunate.
dedicated, yeah. You know them all. I'm sure
Yes.
you've intertwined with all of them somewhere.
Thank you. Dr.
Thank you.
Jenkins, do you have anything
Oh, Dr.
to
Jenkins.
ask or add?
I'll just say thank you to Mr. Galashaw. He does a lot of great work, including helping Mr. Parati get me all set up on Zoom tonight. So thank you for everything you do for the district.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. And I don't really have any thoughtful questions to ask Mr. Rely on my colleague over here
Yes.
for his technology and yours. So, Beth?
I'm like
Got
him.
nothing.
I
Oh,
don't
no,
know.
that's-
I don't know technology.
Yeah, I
So
don't
thank
either,
you.
so it works out, yeah.
I guess I just would say that I just appreciate your candor and this really difficult time, and your ability to be flexible in your staff, and it's a shame that we're here, but
Yeah, we'll get there.
we'll get there. And so we're really lucky to have you and Mr. Kiley, at the helm to really work through some of these things where
And for
we
the
sit together.
public that doesn't know me that well, I am the voice that speaks to you, but besides that, I joke and I bring levity because, technology can be very overwhelming and disappointing at times, so I think I try to bring levity, but when it comes to doing technology, I'm dead serious, because it's a passion. I know I joke and stuff like that, but it's only to make light, just to ease the moment, because it's very, teachers are up there in front of kids. It has to work.
Yeah.
It must be unnerving to
Yeah.
lose something in technology while you have
Absolutely.
25, sets of eyes in front of you. So,
Yeah, and if we can't really get our town, you're appreciative,
to
we're
support it.
appreciative,
Yeah.
but if we
Yeah.
can't get them to
You have to
understand
maintain it. It's a forever
the
project.
value of a public education, I don't know we're going to get them to understand the technology piece is really a critical part of
Yeah.
that. So, but we'll work on it.
And
thank
technology's
you.
become a utility. It's
course.
just something you have to pay, like the electric bill and the water bill. It's just
Yeah,
part
like I
of
say to my
life.
husband when he asks something really silly, I'll say, it's not 1986.
Yeah.
Get out of 1986, right? He's laughing at home, I'm sure. But anyway, thank you
hope I
so
was
much for that presentation and for being here. And now you can go back
Go back to work,
being-
yeah.
Thank you,
So,
Mr. Galashaw.
Thank you.
Mr. Gallagher.
I think every item on the agenda from here on out, I'm going to be turning over to you. But next we have old business, and Mr. Kiley, I'm going to turn over to you for a budget, fiscal '24 budget update in advance of tomorrow's town meeting, 9 a.m. Yes.
Right. Thank you, Mrs. Amaral. So, that's right. The big issue with the budget is that Schedule A is still $99,275 short of where we are budgeted. I will let you know that I had a good discussion with Gary Carrero, the town's finance director, today, who emphasized his willingness to push for some resolution in the October town meeting, to attempt to provide us with some funding that would at least compensate for the $99,275, likely through some sort of capital improvement process. So most probably technology related. So that's what has been presented, and I'm appreciative of that, obviously. But that's where we are with it. I talked last meeting about some of our options. We as a group discussed some options that we could utilize to move forward, and be happy to talk more about those today. Obviously, we could wait and address it that way at the October town meeting. We could try and make a change tomorrow on the floor, and would have to be prepared to adjust our budget up and adjust another budget line down. We could cut the money. I wouldn't recommend that one. We could ask for a transfer at some point from the FinCom Reserve Fund. We could ask town meeting in October for a transfer from a revolving fund, like the kindergarten reserve fund potentially. So we have some options available to us, and I'd offer it up for some guidance and discussion on this as to how you want to proceed.
Mr. Nunes, I don't know, you look like you have.
That's fine. I'm good. Whatever. My game plan, and I'm gonna type it up tonight, and I'll have it for the moderator in the morning, and also I will give Mr. Carrero a copy. So is to first and foremost is to hold the school department budget and such, and then I'm also gonna hold the reserve, either the reserve fund or one of the other miscellaneous line items type of deal, to do two things. Number one is to get the 99,000 that we're owed type of deal. And then I'm gonna go back, I'm also gonna see about getting the other $600,000, just having them increase the estimate for local receipts. I mean, they've, I gotta find it. I didn't write it down. They, when you do an analysis of what local receipts versus what they've had on the recap for, and I just went back to 18, and this is all available on the Division of Local Services website. You gotta kind of scan down and such, but, you look at, you go to 2018, they used 7.3 million on the recap, and the actual was 10 million, and 7.2 became 10.5 in 19. 20 was a little off only because of the COVID situation, but they still had 7.4, and we ended up with 9.9 million type of deal. So the constant, there's going to be $500,000 there, 600,000 type of deal. So that's my game plan. So I'll hit one budget line item type of deal, and then take the rest, just have them increase the local receipts to see what happens. That's my game plan.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Nunes.
hopefully get support.
Well, you got a couple town meeting members on this,
Yeah. So
in this area, so we'll
that's-
see you in the morning.
That's all I have, but that's my game plan.
Anyone else have anything else to add or questions to ask?
I hope that if any town meeting members are listening, or if anybody wants to share it with them, that they should get on board with Mr. Nunes.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Jenkins, do you have anything to add or ask?
No, I'd just say I'd support, if I were in town, I'm not in town, I would support Mr. Nunes's motion, and I appreciate him doing the work to figure that out, to write that up, and to make that motion.
Thank you. Yeah, well, thank you for that. I know it just seems so frustrating to, read in the paper that the town is fully funding, our budget when that is in fact not the case due to a Scribner's error or just a miscalculation or numbers aren't my thing, but
I mean, two things, to wait till October, you roll the dice,
yeah,
number
I
one.
agree.
Number two, I, for one, at this point, would not want to tap that full-day kindergarten fund. Hopefully everybody remembers that that's our money that
Right.
we didn't spend in the budget, that we turned back to go into that full-day kindergarten. But we very well may need that next year as a funding source for our budget.
Yeah.
Type of deal, so. And also too, as I mentioned it the last time, right now, we've got $50,000 out of school choice to, fund the papers and pencils and books and, ink
Yeah.
cartridges, et cetera. So.
Right.
That's kind of a one-time, because it's a supply.
Right.
It's a consumable versus, we use it to buy,
Yeah.
the Chromebooks, and we bought some stuff for Mr. Parati and such, which has a longer shelf life.
Right.
So,
Right.
that's my concern.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that, and I do echo Dr. Jenkins' comment. Just really thanking you for digging in. I know we have received also some emails from residents who had similar thoughts or plans to also bring this up and get this fixed tomorrow. So hopefully we do get support at town meeting. So anything else on that matter? No? Okay, so now we will move on to new business, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Mr. Kiley, about the revisions to our student handbook.
Thank you, Mrs. Amaral. So this has been a process, as you know, in central office. We have some folks who've joined us this year, Katie Paveo, Ross Tebow. So we're taking a look at this from a first-time lens for some of us, and certainly me in my joint capacity. So we've done a lot of work on it. We've made a lot of improvements. There is a ways to go, and we're going to start early in the process in this upcoming year to fine-tune this even more. But we've provided you with some of the changes. We will be seeking a vote of approval tonight from you folks on the student handbook. Some of the things that were technical changes were things like personnel-related changes, the school calendar, some references to gender that we've changed, references to parents where we wanted to include guardians, updated a variety of different links to resources throughout the document, some student discipline information, some of our systems and what they're called. We've done a lot of work on sort of fine-tuning all that and bringing it up to date. So I think we're in a much better place with this student handbook. Normally, we would have brought this to you a little earlier in the year, but we really wanted to spend the time to do the work. So we feel that it's good. It's not perfect. It's a lot better than it was, and it'll be a lot better next year. But at this point, we're hopeful that you'll approve it, and we can get it in our documents and ready to go.
Great. Does anyone have any questions or
I had
discussion? Yep.
a niggly one. In the schedule, there are yellow days that are half-days, and most of them have slashes through them except for one. What does that mean?
Oh, on the school calendar?
Yeah, early on.
Let's see.
Good catch.
One without a slash.
The 14th of February is yellow, but it doesn't have a slash, and everybody else is yellow with a slash. I just didn't understand.
That could be a typo.
It's a good point.
Typo?
I'm not sure. I believe so.
Okay.
Good catch.
Otherwise, I agree with
I
all
didn't
the
catch that.
changes.
So we could vote pending that
Yeah.
correction?
That may not be an appropriate yellow, actually.
Okay.
I think it's not the slash that it's missing.
Okay.
It's the
yellow.
yellow
It's
that
the-
shouldn't be there.
It should be
Okay.
a red day,
Yeah,
I believe, February 14th.
yeah, there we go. A little harder.
Okay.
Yep, I'm fine.
Thank you for noticing that. So I would entertain a motion with barring, no, Dr. Jenkins, I didn't know if you had anything to
No
add.
comments. I'm good.
No. Okay. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve with any
Motion to
edits.
approve the student handbook as presented with the potential adjustment
For the
to the
color
February 14th date color, however you want to put it.
Great.
Second.
Second, Mr. Oliver. Any other comments? All right, roll call?
Kathleen Emerald?
Yes.
Chris Oliver?
Yes.
Elizabeth Coughlin?
Yes.
Shannon Jenkins?
Yes.
John Nunes?
Yes. Thank you. Nice
Great.
job.
Thank you. Thank you for the work on that, the continued work on that, I should say. Now, next on the agenda, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Mr. Kiley, to talk about some year-end fiscal '23 year-end authorizations.
Thank you, Mrs. Emerald. So each year, I ask that the school committee gives me the authority to adjust from one area of the budget to the other at the close of the fiscal year so that we can close out successfully, make sure we've utilized all our resources to the fullest, and any areas that required additional funding are addressed. If this year is a particularly challenging year to close out for me because I'm doing two jobs and haven't had a lot of time to do it, but also because our contract settlement is hopefully going to be finalized in the next few minutes here, but we've had a lot of a lot hanging out there waiting to be determined. So we're going to proceed, hopefully, following tonight to finalize that, which will help us get to the end of the year and make sure that we've utilized our resources the way we hoped. Any funds that would be left, the first priority would be to focus on prepayment of special education tuition. It's a particularly volatile area of the budget from year to year. Every year, usually quite a few times during the year, there are changes in services that are provided for students that come at a fairly high cost. And by prepaying our special education tuition, it allows us to buffer some of those costs and sort of survive the year without having to go back to town meeting and ask for more monies or utilize some other sources of funding. So that's an important activity that we try to do every year, and are hopeful that I can continue that for next year as well.
Great. Anyone have any questions?
Motion to approve the FY '23 end-of-year authorization transfers.
Second.
Okay. Roll call?
Kathleen Emerald?
Yes.
Chris Oliver?
Yes.
Elizabeth Coughlin?
Yes.
Shannon Jenkins?
Yes.
John Nunes?
Yes. We'll get a copy when you give us the year end. That'll have what went from here to where. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Perfect. And so next on the agenda, Mr. Kiley, if you could talk us through the school committee meeting schedule through September, from July to September, our proposed meeting dates.
Thank you, Mrs. Emerald. So we have our next meeting, which would be June 26th. We have a proposed meeting in July, July 17th, and a proposed meeting in August, August 21st. We also have two meetings in September proposed, Monday, September 11th, and Monday, September 25th. So there had been a member or two had some ideas about start times for meetings. So I thought I'd just throw them out there for discussion. One was to look at morning meetings in July and August. The other was on July 26th, the 4th, and August 21st. I'm sorry, not the 4th. I hope we're not here on July 4th. July 17th and August 21st to, if not morning meetings, to move them up to a 4 o'clock start. And then the other thing for consideration is moving forward in September to move up the start till 6 p.m. So those are some thoughts that committee members had expressed to me individually, and so I thought I'd just share those with you for your discussion.
Thank you,
Dates.
Mr. Crowley. First, it is, the date's good for everyone?
I'm not here the 26th.
Okay,
I'm
right.
Not here the 26th either.
And I'm
not here the 26th either.
Oh,
Well,
Well,
and I think
Okay.
Dr. Jenkins is also,
Jenkins is also not. Okay.
Okay.
Well, we won't be meeting on the 26th.
Okay, so I'm not here that week unless we come back, unless we meet
I'm not
on
here that
Friday.
week.
I'm not here that week.
okay, I am here that week. My husband will be home going, uh-huh. But, yeah, if anything needs to be signed, I would be available to stop in if you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I can-
Yep.
So we'll skip the 26th.
Okay.
yeah, we'll just have one meeting in June, that's all.
Okay.
That's fine.
And admittedly, I brought up for this summer, wondering if it would be possible to get a morning meeting in. I work through the summer, but I can easily start my day later. That would be more convenient for me, selfishly, but I understand that might not work for others. And I would be agreeable to the 6th. I don't know that I could do any earlier than that, but 6 I would be agreeable to for moving on or just, so I open it up for your thoughts and,
The July 17th and August 21st, I mean, if we start at 4 o'clock or 4:30, you know, if we start earlier, that works for me. The 6 o'clock start time in September, and I'm going to make an assumption going forward, would work for me in such, you know, so, but that, again, I'm just the one person.
But you're also considering an AM meeting time for
for,
July and August?
yes,
Yeah, and again, the AM on those days works for me.
okay,
I like AM in the summer,
yeah.
for sure, and I'm fine with 6 later in the year.
I guess I'll be the odd person out.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, no, mornings don't work for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. How about Shannon?
They don't work for me
Dr.
either.
Jenkins, I don't know if.
They
we can
don't,
hear you.
mornings don't work for me either. I can do a 4:30, but I can't do mornings.
She can do 4:30.
She can do 4:30?
Is that what we heard, Shannon?
Correct. I can do 4:30. I cannot do mornings.
Okay.
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 She can do 4:30, not the morning.
Right. And I mean, just, you know, I most, you know, it's more difficult for me at 4:30, but if it is the pleasure of the committee, I can always have Mr. Oliver sort of stand in if I'm not available. It's not the end of the
It'll be
world.
cutting it close for me at 4:30 as well.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
I
if
could
we-
do
Well, we can-
5.
And if we don't, if you're not here at 4:30 and we don't start till 4:45, it's fine. It's posted for
Okay.
4:30. And
Well, what
That type
works
of-
for you?
I can be flexible. It's just, you know, like I work till 5, but sometimes I'm in Waltham. But I mean, I've been able to make it. I just want to. It wouldn't be the end of the world if I can't make it. You know, so long as.
Well, I would feel better with a 5 or 5:30 start time over the summer.
Let's make it convenient, 5:30, then people can make it.
Yeah, or, you know, if 5 o'clock works, well, no, it doesn't work for you.
It could be a thing where I could do a Zoom too if I wasn't somewhere to, you know, to get here. I could do that.
Okay.
So want to do that 5?
Yeah,
Do we
shoot
do
for
is that what
5.
we?
Shoot for 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
then 6 o'clock proposed starting time.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I'm
Good?
fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Is there any appetite, has there ever been, Mr. Nunes, with starting, if there is an executive session, starting the night off with the executive session? I'm just wondering what the,
We have, when I first got on, we would have them first because our council was from out of town. So, you know, council would come in, whatever, and then we would, so, but what would happen is we would have an executive session at 5:30, and then a meeting start at 6:30 type of deal. So,
Is that
Make a
something that would be, I would,
yeah, Walter's shaking his head. My memory is good.
Maybe that's just, I have a couple of thoughts. So just one thing, maybe we can talk about it some more.
Yeah.
I would, obviously with Dr. Saban McGuire coming on board, I think it's important that we have a workshop some point in August.
yeah.
That'll be tough, yeah.
Maybe a morning,
Yeah.
maybe we can do that,
Yeah,
just so we can figure some things out.
yeah.
Yeah.
The only other, and that's fine, I mean, and I'm just thinking, which I know gets me in trouble sometimes, but if we're going forward, and we've got to look, I'm not sure if we've got a quote-unquote policy that says our meetings start at 6:30. So we may just, I don't know.
Okay.
That's off the top of my head, but if there is, then we may just have to modify that policy, which is nothing.
Okay.
But that's, you know,
Okay. We could look into that.
I'm just not trying to keep.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. And you just made me, and I just for Bess's part, the working group would be setting the agenda for the
Yeah.
next year, that sort
So
of
it's
thing.
not a meeting.
No, it's
just
a workshop that we.
figuring out what we're doing.
It's a workshop.
We have at Bush Street. In
Yeah.
the room, and, yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay. So we don't. Okay. So we're good with this.
We're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Excellent. So no vote on that or anything, right? No.
No.
Okay.
No meeting on the 26th,
No
though.
meeting on the 26th.
So now I'm going to turn it over to you, Mr. Kiley, for superintendent's update.
Thank you, Mrs. Amaral. So I guess first I'd like to take the opportunity to acknowledge the devotion and efforts of 12 staff members who have retired in the latter part of this year. We have Kevin Abrantes, custodian, Kathleen Baldwin, occupational therapist, Sue Bishop, grade 3 teacher, Marion D. Moranville, food service worker, Darren Doan, middle school principal, Donna Floor, secretary, Mita Ganguly, teacher assistant, Dr. Bonnie Gifford, superintendent, Tony Martin, special education teacher, Lisa Medeiros, literacy coach, Maria Rafferty, secretary, Judith Souza, food service worker. So we've got several people who've committed a lot of years, about 250 years, I think, amongst them to the district. So I'd like to thank them for sure.
No.
Yeah. Thank you.
them for their service.
Absolutely.
I would actually like to see at some point, I don't know if it's possible for this year, but I think, I know the first day of school, there's usually a recognition of the retirees from the previous year. Is that still practice? I don't know if that's through the Dartmouth Educators Association, the acknowledgement, but isn't there in the first day of school?
We have done it in the past. I don't think we did it. I don't think we've done it in a couple of years that way.
Okay. I think that our retirees, especially some of our teaching staff, and you have administrators like Mr. Doan and, administrative assistants such as Maria Rafferty, that I think it's certainly worth acknowledging. I think it would be a nice gesture if the school committee, if we could send out, even if it's just an invitation where they're just recognized and they're thanked publicly, I think it says something about this school department, that we acknowledge them, and we certainly appreciate their work and their dedication, considering the amount of years here that I'm looking at. I think it would be a nice gesture from the school committee and the school department that we recognize them at a school committee, and maybe that's something we do moving forward every
I
year.
like that. I
Just
like that.
Just my thoughts.
Yeah. Thank you. I like that.
Some other updates. So we sort of had the culmination of our senior activities yesterday with the commencement exercise that I thought was fantastic. I've got to say that it's been fun participating as, in a kind of a different role, and I've been very impressed with our senior class. They were an exceptional group, and certainly I'm proud of them for sure. So. Lots and lots of activities in the schools. Middle school graduation coming up next Tuesday at the stadium. We had all the moving up days are coming up, the field days, the concerts, the art shows, lots and lots of activity. I'd obviously like to thank everybody who, has been a part of that, putting those together. I also want to give a little bit of a shout out to DCTV, who has been covering these things nonstop now for weeks, and doing an awesome job. And certainly Rob and his group have also been covering lots of events, and it's been great. So it gives an opportunity for people who haven't had a chance to make it to things to get to see see their kids and relatives, and so it's been excellent. We have the Curriculum Summit coming up, which is an opportunity for staff to participate in a 2-day event that involves professional development and an opportunity for them to work on curriculum. We have, at this point, we have more than 65 teachers signed up for to participate. It's the 2 days after school lets out, so there's no break. You can't go to the beach the next day. You've got to participate in the Curriculum Summit. So that's quite a commitment of 65 plus staff members to on June 15th and 16th come in and work on this stuff. So we're happy to see that. I wrote this before today's games, but baseball, softball, girls lacrosse, tennis were all still involved until today. I went to the girls lacrosse game for a bit. They were, I had to leave to come here, but they were down and they did end up losing. But they played well. They lost 15-10. So we had all of our spring sports had a great year. So we were happy to see that. We're also getting ready for our summer programs. So we have academic summer school programs. We have our extended school year program. We also are in the process of Mr. Thibault and Mrs. Paveo are working on the Acceleration Academy grant that became available. So the Department of Ed sort of snuck it in last second. So we're putting in an application for that. So it'll be a 1 week at the conclusion of our other summer school programs that we'll have to offer kids. So another good opportunity. And I think that's the bulk of things on my list.
Great. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's been a busy time, exciting time. I don't have anything other, you kind of covered it all. I don't know if any of my colleagues have anything to add. Mr. Nunes?
Yeah, just a couple of things, just to kind of piggyback a little bit of what Mr. Kiley said, was at awards night with all the scholarships awarded to the seniors, and also the senior awards from the different academic classes type of deal. Was fortunate, my wife and I, to attend graduation, and then I was at the after prom, and it was just a great evening. The students had a great time from the time they got there till the time they left, and then, came back to the high school for the after prom, and they had a blast. So it was, just good to see them all together. And they ate well.
Nice.
Nice.
Thank you, Mr. Nunes. Anyone else? Dr. Jenkins?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Great. So our next meeting is not going to be June 26th. It's going to be July
July
17th.
At 5
5
o'clock.
o'clock. That will be here. Okay, here at the high school. So now I'm going to entertain a motion, and hopefully we'll do this correct. I'm going to entertain a motion that we adjourn into executive session to return into open session. We're adjourning, for purposes of union negotiations, to return into open session to conclude matters related. So,
Madam Chair, make a motion that we adjourn into executive session for the purposes of update on union negotiations and return to open session when completed.
Second.
perfect. Okay. Roll call?
Kathleen Amaral,
Yes.
Chris Oliver.
Yes.
Elizabeth Coughlin.
Yes.
Shannon Jenkins.
Yes.
John Nunes.
Yes, we're in recess.
Okay.
Perfect. I never put him here.
You're gonna make the announcement, though.
Roll call, we're back in session.
Kathleen Amaral,
Here.
Chris Oliver.
Yep.
Elizabeth Coughlin.
Here.
Shannon Jenkins.
Here.
John Nunes.
Yeah.
Great, so,
Madam Chair, just for the record, it
Yes.
is 8:12.
thank you. Thank you for that. So we, gosh.
We're returning
We're
from, we just returned from
returning from-
executive session.
What day is it?
And you have some good news to
And I
share,
have some good
Madam
news
Chair.
to share that the Dartmouth School Committee came to agreement with 4 of our bargaining units, including our teachers unit, our school nurse educator unit, our assistants unit, that's our ESPs, and our secretary, our school year and full year secretaries unit. So I'm happy to share that information.
Job well done.
Yeah, I would just like to thank our negotiation team, Mr. Nunes, Mr. Kiley, all the administrators and staff from Bush Street that were involved, and of course, how can we forget our counsel, Mr. Smith? So thank you for all your efforts. Job well done. I think at the end of the day, this is certainly, it was a long process, but hopefully, this is what compromise is all about. And I think both sides did an excellent job with compromising. And I do want to commend the Dartmouth Educators Association for their respectful silent protests and all their time, being very respectful of the process. So.
Agreed. Anyone else? Dr. Jenkins, anything to add?
Nope.
Great. I agree with what you say. There's, of course, it's really exciting, but there's still work to be done, obviously, as was noted during public comment today. But I just thank everyone, and really glad that we can come to this agreement and this compromise in this way. So, and then town meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Yeah.
So some more to come on that. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Kathleen Amaral,
Yes.
Chris Oliver.
Yes.
Elizabeth Coughlin.
Yes.
Shannon Jenkins.
Yes.
John Nunes.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you all.
Good job.